Okay, so how to stop being the victim in your life. A lot of people like to claim that they're victims of certain circumstances in their life that they had full control over. So this is what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about if you were, molested or something happened to you that you couldn't prevent. This is about basically um, people who feel like they're a victim in their life because of their circumstances. But the circumstances that they're in is basically because of the choices they're making each and every day in their life or the choices that they made previously. And I was able to really understand that, some of the reasons I was in the position I was in now was because of choices that I made. It doesn't matter if I wasn't taught certain things, it doesn't matter if I wasn't warned. I still made choices based off of my own knowledge at that point. So, how I was able to actually get out of that state of victimhood, because victimhood feels so good, right? You're able to just blame everyone else for where you are in life. Like, oh, it's my mom's fault. It's my dad's fault. It's my ex's fault. It's the government's fault. It's the world's fault. It's my skin color's fault. It's this person over here's fault. It's my landlord's fault. It's the job's fault. It's the way society is um, constructed fault. When are you ever going to say, maybe it's not the outside circumstances, maybe it's me? Maybe it's something I have to work on, or maybe it's something I have to change within me. So, the reason why I'm doing this video is because a lot of us blame other people for the way your life is. So, understand that being a victim keeps you in a captive state. It keeps you like someone captured you and you're like, oh, I'm a victim of this. I can't leave. I can't leave. It's a spiritually victimized state that you're in because you really feel like you cannot get out of the situation that you're in. And you really feel that it was somebody else's fault, or you really feel that you weren't taught certain things that could have prevented you from doing these things. It's time to take accountability. Like, it's just time to stop what ifing, or this should have happened, or this should have happened. It's time for us to actually take accountability. Well, because I took accountability. Okay. I took accountability. That's why I'm able to sit here in front of this camera and tell you what victimhood is. So take accountability for where you are, and just take accountability for where you are now. Like, and then you'll go deeper into the other situations and the other things that you wish that could have happened differently. But nobody can change the past. We only can understand how we feel now and create a new future with a new mindset and a new heart and a new outlook on life. So, we feel like we're a victim because, I'm looking down at my notes, but being a victim gives you excuses on why you're in the position you're in currently in life, and it keeps you complacent. And, imagine, like people say the hamster wheel. I hear a car beeping. The hamster wheel analogy, as you see the hamster just running fast, like he thinks he's going somewhere, but he's actually staying in the same spot. So a victim keeps you in the same spot. You may want better for yourself, but you're always blaming other people for why you're not exactly where you want to be in life. And if you're always blaming other people, you're never ever going to take responsibility for your own actions and your own discipline to get you to where you want to actually go. So if you're always just, just saying like, oh, I'm not here because of this reason. Oh, this is the reason why I'm not doing this today. And this is the reason I'm not doing this today. It's literally like you're blaming everybody else, or you're blaming certain circumstances for the reasons why you're not doing the things that you said you were going to do for yourself. And now that you're conscious and aware, you have to really understand that you can't keep blaming other people, because then you're going to realize like, I'm blaming other people. I'm blaming circumstances on why I'm not showing up for myself in life. Now, being a victim is not attractive. Being a conqueror is the most attractive thing that you can have in your lifetime. If you can conquer something that was once very traumatic to you, that once was very hard to do, you have more mental fortitude to go forward in life. And this is just something I was going through today, or just thinking about today. Traumatic experiences. Why was that experience so traumatic? Like, if you really break it down, why was it so traumatic to you? And people will say, well, because of the event that happened, whatever happened, this is what happened that made me traumatized. Okay. Yes, that's very true. That's very true. You can be traumatized and also get through it, you know what I'm saying? But if you are over time just, just still thinking about it, still worrying about it, still scared, still traumatized about it, you have to ask yourself, did you have the right support system around you? Did you have a support system around you during that traumatic experience you had? Did you have, if you needed counseling, if you needed a therapist, if you needed, just love, if you needed someone to talk to, you needed reassurance, if you needed someone to show you that, this is just one thing that happens in life sometimes. And did you have that person to just hold you? A lot of people say they had a traumatic childhood. They can't remember it because they don't want to think about it because it was so traumatic, because no one was there for them. No one was there for them. The people they thought was supposed to be there for them wasn't. And that's why it was so traumatic, because you didn't, as a child, you did not have a support system. You did not have anyone to love on you, care for you, treat you with love, treat you with respect, and just guide you in life. They sometimes, when traumatic things happen to you, people just kept moving with life. They just kept going. They didn't really, I don't want to say they wouldn't care, but some people were not educated enough to be that person that you needed back then. So to get through traumatic experiences now, even if you have flashbacks or if you're still thinking about traumatic experiences, you have to really talk to yourself as the person, talk to yourself like you would have wanted those people around you to talk to you. Like for me, it will be, Alayla, I understand something very scary or traumatic happened to you. Understand that something life changing has happened to you, and I'm here whenever you need to talk about it. I'm here to love you. I'm here to guide you. I I love that you made it through this and that you're still here, and that you were brave enough to even keep going and still be here and smiling and being an amazing version of yourself. I'm here for you. Like, I'm here for you. Trust me. Like, if anything, if you ever fall again, I'm always still going to be here for you. Like, you always have me as your backbone. You don't have to fear anything because you are divinely protected. Your mind is going to be protected. You can get through the hardships in your life. Um, Sometimes in life, um, certain things happen to people, and it could be very scary. It could be very hurtful. It could be very, upsetting. When you do feel those feelings, like, come talk to me, come talk to the people around you. We're here to create a safe environment for you. We're here to love you. Like, just give me a hug. Just lay with me tonight. Like, let's just hold each other tonight. You may not feel better today. You may not feel better the next, but you will feel better eventually. Words like that, and not just one day. You know what I'm saying? Actually coming back again and just being gentle and being supportive to that person, because a lot of things that happened to me, I just had to literally just keep going. I had no one to really, and I'm not blaming anybody because, everybody, you shouldn't blame your parents or you shouldn't blame your support system unless they're really to blame. But some people's parents or support systems, they were working hard. They were traumatized their own self. They had their own things going on through their lives. They grew up differently. Their parents never ever their parents never ever did that to them. They never ever had the access to knowledge that we have. So don't be so hard on your loved ones. Give them grace, okay? Give yourself grace, because however you act towards them is how you will act towards yourself. And whatever they couldn't do for you, do it for your kids. If you have children, do it for your friends. Do it for yourself at the end of the day. Like, don't just be a victim to your traumatic experiences. That's also tied in. And a lot of people say, well, it's hard. You have to realize why it was hard. You didn't really have anyone to talk to. You didn't have anyone to show you the facts of the situations. You didn't have anyone to nurture you, care for you. Okay, if you watch something happen, even if it happened to you, you didn't have that person there. That's why it was so traumatic, because it seemed like a big, big, big event in your life. Like, your eyes focused, took a snapshot. I forgot the guy's name who says that. I think it was Joe Dispenza. You know, it takes a snapshot of the moment, and you categorize it as traumatic. Okay, so anything dealing with that, you don't want nothing to do with it. You're traumatized about it. You're scared about it. You're all that. So you just have to realize that you have to be that groundedness for yourself now as an adult. Um, and the reason that, a lot of people don't know this is because a lot of people are not consciously aware of what they're feeling. A lot of people want to push it down. A lot of people want to just get away from those feelings and not think about it because it's so traumatic. It's so overwhelming. You know what I'm saying? But once you break down the facts of why it was so overwhelming, you will understand it's because everyone needs a support system. Everybody needs a layout of how to handle their emotions and how to handle situations in life. Life is a learning lesson. And I'm so glad I was able to figure this out, because it's like, this is why I was the way I was. Like, this is why I didn't want to think about certain topics, or this is why I thought certain topics or certain timelines in my life were so traumatic. It was just because I didn't have anybody just to hold me, like to catch me when I fell. That's what parents do, and that's what relatives or whoever, that's what they do, supposed to catch you when you fall so you can be able to get back up. A lot of people didn't have nobody to catch them when they fell. So that's why, stuff like that happened. But um like I said, I acknowledge the situation that you're running from, okay? First of all, like acknowledge it. It was only traumatic because it lingered on for so long, like especially if it happened a long time ago and you have no support. Everybody acting like, oh, we're fine, you know what I'm saying? And you're the one that was actually very more, you know, you were the one who was actually more affected by it or whatever. You have to ask, it could just be like, you know what, this experience was traumatic for me because I really just had nobody to talk to like about it. I just really had nobody to help me understand how I was feeling. I really had nobody just to hug me, hold me, love me the way I needed to deeply. Everybody just kept moving on with their lives when I was stuck in a traumatic experience, and then more traumatic experiences kept happening, which literally hardened. It don't matter if it's the same situation, but if you receive the same feeling over and over and over in different ways, it all categorizes itself as that same feeling that's happening over and over. So if it's fear, is building more fear basically in your life, and that's your base point of where you bounce off, which is the fear. If you constantly are in fear, even if it's in different ways, it doesn't have to be, oh, that way that happened before or this way. It can be different ways that you're feeling the feeling of fear or feeling of the unknown, which can lead into social anxiety. Okay. And that's where some of it comes from, like just fear of the unknown and fear when you were younger. Like I wasn't perfect, I'm not a perfect person. So I have children and I now know that I am their backbone. I cannot instill fear into them. I have to instill knowledge. I have to instill support, understanding. Of course, the discipline, but what too much discipline could it can lead you to anxiety because, especially if you just want love. So it's a lot of things that I have to, work on my own. But like I said, being the victim does not get you anywhere but victimhood. And victimhood feels good while you're in it. You can literally blame everybody else for your actions. And if you're creating your life, if you're wanting to get further into your life and create a different reality for yourself, for your children, how you react to situations, how you handle situations, we have to be fearful. I mean, is it fearful? We have to not be fearful, basically, fearless. Okay? It's all about how you look at a situation. You can be, it could be two people and you guys are both just stranded in the jungle. Let's say that you're stranded in the jungle. And one person is just fearful, like, oh my God, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what to do. Da, 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 da. Like, oh my God, we only have one bottle of water. One of these things, one of these things, one of these things. And then there's another person who may be a little fearful, but they are thinking about different ways of how to get out of that situation. They're using more of their, um, logic instead of just the fear-based thinking, of course you'll be scared. So they're like, okay, they're more reasoning it out. Like, okay, we're going to get out of here. This is just a certain this is just a certain time in my life that I'm here. But I know there's resources around me to get me here. You know what I'm saying? So who do you think is going to have the best chances of survival? You know what I'm saying? Who do you think is going to have the better chances of getting over that situation after they're, rescued if they both survive? You know what I'm saying? So that person can look at the event and say, you know what, I'm going to write a book about it. Like, it was a very adventurous event. Like, a lot of stuff happened, but, I'm going to get through it. And it's even better if you have people around you, like when you do get rescued, comforting you, loving you, supporting you. Like, do you need this? Do you need that? Every single day in your world, loving on you, helping you understand what actually happened, the facts of everything, and you moving on forward in your life, not being scared or traumatic the rest of your life. So being a victim could be so many different things. A victim to your emotions because you think you have to feel these ways. A victim to your thoughts because you feel like you can't control them. A victim to your actions, like I said before, like you can't control, or the reasons you were acting this way is because of outside circumstances. And just keep practicing. Just keep every single day. Do your best to show up for yourself. You have to live this life. If something ever happens to you, you be there for you. You talk to yourself and uplift yourself. You ground yourself. You love on yourself. It don't have to be a traumatic event. It could be anything, like you starting a business or you going to do a talk, and let's say, the people just didn't like the way you were explaining stuff, or they just didn't resonate with you. That could be very traumatic. You're like, oh my God, I don't want to do this again because of how they didn't respond. Like, am I doing something wrong? Am I doing this and this? But if you actually look at the facts and look at what you were talking about and look at the city that you were in, look at the audience that you had, and let's say your speeches are for women, and it's the audience is full of men, and it's just like, okay, maybe it didn't resonate because of that. You have to get the facts of everything and tell yourself it's okay. Like, you got through it. You got through it. That was an experience that you got through. What did you learn from that emotionally and intellectually? What did you learn? And that's why it's so important to stop being a victim, because there's so many lessons in circumstances and situations. Don't try to run away from it. Sit in it and figure out what you need to do for your life. So yeah, like, that's pretty much it. Like, yeah, I just been, just really just trying my best to be a better version of myself. I have children, and of course, I'm like, I want them to be safe. I want them to be this. I want them to be that. And, we don't control situations. We create environments. And if they're in a great environment, they will get through anything, no matter whatever happened to them. They will get through anything. They'll be able to get through it and not be stuck, because emotions can have you stuck. Experiences can have you stuck in a certain state. And it doesn't matter if it's, noticeable or not. You're going to be, if a state has you in fear, you're going to be in fear for everything that you do in life. It doesn't have to be related to the thing that happened in the past. It can literally be related to everything going forward. You're going to be scared to do everything because you didn't have that groundedness, or that person around you, or that people around you, or the prayer, or anything around you, and you can tell how stuff changed when that happened. You just have to realize that you be there for you. You hug you. Give yourself a hug tonight. Every night. Give yourself a hug because I had to pause it. Sorry you guys, I forgot what I was saying. But just be there for yourself, give yourself a hug, and know that going forward, you're going to be there for you. Going forward, you're going to be there for your children. Going forward, you're going to be there for your friends. Going forward, you're going to be there for these people who need you. Going forward, you're going to understand that, you know, you're not a victim. Traumatic events, you're not a victim to traumatic events. You're not a victim to seeing traumatic events. You just did not have a support system around you to help you channel your emotions. And I'm not saying, oh, all of a sudden after you watch this video you're gonna be feeling great. Every day you just gotta soothe yourself whenever you feel certain thoughts come up, like, you know what, I'm there for me. I'm going to be there for my kids. I'm going to be there for the people around me. I'm creating an environment of peace and protection and love. I'm creating an environment that me and my kids are able to thrive in. I'm creating an environment where me and my friends are able to thrive in, and not just be so fearful and one-sided. Like, well, this happened, I'm scared of this, or this happened, I don't want this to happen. I'll this happened because of this. Like, you have to flow, flow with life. And that's the only thing you can do is flow with life. And sometimes your flow may get knocked off, but figure out the flow again, because you're an eternal being and you have to literally flow with life, not go against it, up the current, like flow, flow, flow. Because everything that you need is in here, is in the universe, and it's in when you connect with God, all the answers are going to be provided to you. And if you really want the answers, it's here. If you really want to channel or change your mindset, you can. You don't have to stay in the same position because you you are basically still tied to past events. You're still tied to past traumas. So that's why I think people call it a trauma, because they just didn't have that support system around them. With a lot of times that other things happened that, I wasn't, or I'm over it, because I was able to talk to people about it. I was able to have support systems around me and stuff like that. But going forward, you just give what you couldn't give to yourself to other people. So don't be fearful of anything. God has given us peace, love, and a sound mind. Okay. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. You're in control of your life. You're in control of the way you look at situations. You're in control of the way that you see situations. Live your life to the fullest. This is the only life you have. Keep showing up for yourself. Keep loving yourself. Keep pushing yourself forward in this lifetime. And don't ever give away your power. Like, don't ever give away your power to past circumstances or anything. Like, love your life. Live your life, because life is an amazing, abundant thing that we're able to live in. We're able to be here. God manifested this. Like, he literally had a thought in his mind. God said, I have a thought. And I also was thinking about this, like, imagine, like, a lot of other people say, it starts with a thought. you know, thoughts become things. So when you think about things, you sometimes you can manifest it into like a business or an idea or whatever. You have an idea and you want to get it on paper into the physical. So I was thinking like God thought about this world. God created this world. He had people come down as vessels through him to even create more in the world, have ideas to create the world. He is so talented. Like if you really think about it, the Holy Spirit, God is so talented because he thought of this world and said, I'm going to create this. God thought of this world and said, I want to create this. And he did. And imagine if God actually came from another multiverse and said, I want to create my own universe. Maybe he was in his own universe and said, eventually I want to create my own. And he did because they were so highly intelligent up there. God was able to create his own universe. And God said, I'm gonna create this and that. Like imagine how in depth this world is. Like imagine what you can create because we are children of God. Imagine what you can create as a child of God. If God had an idea, God created the world. God created the people, the animals, the rivers, the everything around that we can see. Imagine what you can do with a thought and with planning and with intentionality of what you wanted. God said he created the heaven and earth. You know what I'm saying? He said, let there be light, let there be blah, let there be this, let there be that. He stated what he wanted. That's what you need to do. You need to state what you want in life. State what you see yourself doing in life. State what you want your life to be. I thank you for protection. I thank you for love. I thank you for understanding. I thank you for groundedness. I thank you for support, the feeling of support. Because at the end of the day, you're not going to be here forever. And this is just real. Like, you're not going to be here forever. You cannot stay in the same predicament, in the same space for the rest of your life. You have to live your life up to the fullest and actually take action on your life. It's not promised that you're going to be here tomorrow. It's not promised that you're going to be here the next day. It's not promised that the people you love is going to be here. It's not promised. But a lot of people are living life as if they're going to live to 80. Everyone wants to live to 80. Everyone wants to live past 90. Everyone wants to live to the old age. So you have to really just be grateful because when you even think about it, you're going to be there in a minute. Like, even if it's 80 years old, you want to live to a 90 or whatever, that time is going to come. Everyone has a limited time. You have to create your world now because you're here to create. You're here to live. You're here to love. You're here to experience. You're here to learn. You're here to uplift. You're here to just live your life. You're a manifestation of God. And God has so many ideas inside of you that he wants to be birthed. But you have to be disciplined. Not even disciplined, I wouldn't call it, but you have to be able to see that I can create my world with a thought and with a plan. Meaning, if I want to move to a different place or have move to a different state, maybe have a different, a home that I bought. Great, that's a great idea. And a lot of people say, well, how am I going to get that? Well, I'm going to start a business. Okay, great. And they start the business and it just doesn't work out because you failed to plan. Yeah, you say you started a business, but you have to start all the way back. What business are you going to start? Do you have money right now? How are you going to have money coming in? How are you going to launch the business? How are you going to have the business? How are you going to market the business? What are your plans for the business, your goals for the business, who's your target audience for the business? How, and when you do get the money from the business, what are you going to invest in with the money? Like, are you going to invest in more marketing? Are you going to invest in more clothes, or invest in more? Hold on. Are you going to invest in more items for the business, or are you just going to blow your money because you never had a plan? Um, what house do you want? Where is the house? How are you going to get the house? How are you going to maintain the home? What comes with maintaining that type of home? What state do you want to live in? Why do you want to live in that state? How are you going to get there? How are you going to support yourself? Just so many other aspects in your life that you have to actually write out and keep up with as you're going on your journey. It's like you're traveling from California to New York. How are you going to get there? You're not just going to start driving and say, okay, well, I'll just figure it out. Especially if you never ever drove from California to New York. You're never going to get there. If you really think about it, you never will get there if you can follow the signs. I mean, I guess your intuition, but it would just be easier if you had a roadmap to where you would go. Then you saw the signs. Okay, I'm getting there. I'm actually getting there, instead of going in a full circle. Like, wait, I'm back in California. Wait, why am I not reaching New York? I want to get to New York. Why am I constantly in limbo, going in circles, circles, circles? It's because you need a plan. You need to write out where you're going, when are you going to stop for food, when you're going to take a rest break, how long do you want to drive, what states can you drive through, what do you need, like what's the weather like going to be like, what am I going to do once I get to New York, am I going to stay, what's my plans for the next 5 years if I do stay, how am I going to make new friends, how am I going to get a new job if I want a new job, how am I going to market my business in New York, maybe all of that. You have to get down to the T of what you want to do, and how you're going to do it. And that's part of the creation process. You think God just automatically woke up and said, well, I was going to do this and make a universe. The universe and the world would not look like this if God just said that. Like, oh, you think he just thought of some stuff and just said, okay, this is what it is? No, he had deep thought. Like, it was a deep thought of what he wanted. He literally said, I'm going to do this way, this way. He had everything that he wanted perfectly. But as you see, everything did not go as planned. There were certain people or certain aspects that didn't go as planned, but it was still his creation. You know what I'm saying? It still was beautiful, as you see. So that's it, y'all. Creation, victimhood, all of that. You can't be a victim and create, okay? You gotta be able to breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Understand life, love your life, and just do the best you can in the situation that you're in, and create your reality. Write out the details of what you want. That's what people mean when they say create your own reality. They mean to literally detail each day. Do the best that you can to create, the reality that you do want that day. Like, if you're wanting to do something, work towards it every day or every other day, or whenever you plan to. It should be getting you towards your goal of what you want. It shouldn't be like a desire, or I just want these things. Just want it, please. I just really want it. That's not a space of creating. That's a space of lack. If you actually want to create, it's a destination that you're going to get to. It's a place that you're going to actually get to because you are making the effort to get there. You have a plan to get there. You're not going somewhere you don't want to go. It's like you're traveling and you really want to go to New York, but you're going to, I don't know, Minnesota, because it's just shorter, I guess. You're going to Minnesota. I mean, you want to go to New York. You know, your heart's telling you New York. You know, you love the scenery. You love all of this. Da 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 da. But you're like, okay, I'm just going to go to Minnesota because you know it's less people there. There's and you know, blah 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 blah. It's not what you really want to do, so it may not work out. So do what you actually are passionate about. Do what you want to do. That's why people say do what you're passionate about because you're going to get there regardless. And if you do something you don't want to do, you're going to stop because, or if you don't have a plan or a vision for what you want to do, you're going to eventually stop because you don't see yourself getting to the goal. I'm going to make more videos about that, but the moral of the story is to understand that, you know, victimhood could keep you complacent where you want to be at. Past traumas are most likely traumatic because you didn't have anyone there for you to hold you, to love you, and to give you the love that you needed as a child or as an adult. Or you weren't there for yourself the way you could have been because you just didn't know how. So going forward, I actually do have an ebook called 6 Ways to Channel Your Emotions, which is, you know, channeling the way you feel into a better feeling. Like if you feel upset or something or down, you can draw, you can exercise, you can take a shower, you can do other other activities that helps you release those emotions. I'm gonna eventually put the link in the bio, but yeah, if you're interested in the book, but you know, hey, this is your life. You do what you feel like you need to do. You show up for yourself and you love yourself because you are the one who's going to change your life. God is there to support you, yes, but God's not going to do everything for you. You have to do it too. Faith without works is dead. You have to put the work in to actually get to a life that you want, you know, and for your kids to want, and for their great grandkids. A lot of people talk about generations, and you have to think about, yes, we have to think about that. We have to think about the 10 generations after us. We're not the only ones. There are going to be 10 other generations, 20, 30, and you're just going to be kind of lost in it. But your bloodline is going to be rich from now on. You have to speak that my timeline, I'm on the greatest timeline, and my kids are on the greatest timeline, and forever, for eternity. We're never going to get off this timeline full of love, full of protection, full of understanding, full of everything, because this is what I decide. You decide. Thank you for clicking on my channel, and I hope you have a great night.